One of the most debated mysteries in all of Genesis is four words that have generated centuries of controversy, confusion, and even tragedy. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, Genesis 4:15. What was the mark of Cain? Why did God put it there? And what has history done with this verse that God never intended? First, the context. After pronouncing Cain's curse, God said something that surprises most readers. Therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. Genesis 4:15. God was protecting Cain from being killed by others as he wandered. And the mark was the sign of that protection, a visible indicator that this man was under divine protection and that harming him would carry severe consequences. Now here is the first extraordinary truth about the mark. It was not a mark of shame. It was not a brand of condemnation. It was not God publicly humiliating Cain for what he had done. It was a mark of mercy. God was extending protection to the man who had just committed the first murder in human history, the man who had lied to his face, the man who had declared himself beyond forgiveness. And God responded by marking him for protection. The Hebrew word for mark here is oath, which is the same word used throughout the Old Testament for signs and wonders. For the signs God placed in the heavens, for the sign of the covenant with Noah, for the signs Moses performed before Pharaoh. It was not a degrading brand. It was a significant divine sign with real power and real meaning. Now here is where history gets deeply troubling. For centuries, this verse was tragically misused to justify some of the worst atrocities in human history, with people falsely claiming the mark of Cain was a change in skin, color used to justify racism and slavery. But the Bible gives absolutely no description of what the mark looked like, no indication it was physical in any permanent sense, and no suggestion whatsoever that it had anything to do with race or ethnicity. That interpretation was a human invention, used to justify human evil and has no basis in the text whatsoever. What the mark of Cain actually tells us is this: even when God cannot ignore what you have done, even when consequences are real and unavoidable, he still finds a way to extend mercy in the middle of judgment. The same God who cursed Cain also marked him for protection, because that is who he is.